First, I want to start by saying thank you. This has been amazing. I've been following you for years. I've been in the hot seat before, but this last year has been wonderful because of meditation every day. It's a good way to just start fresh and keep it going as long as you can. My life is good. Marriage is good. Child is good. Everything is wonderful.
And you're not apologetic about any of that, are you?
I'm trying not to be.
There was a little twinge of it in there. Just a little twinge of it in there.
Every few days, I get in my car. I love my car. Just like Esther. There's something about the safety and the speed and I just love my car.
And the clear space and the moving energy and the being in a new space, new energy, and freedom.
Yes. Yeah. But I put myself in, I connect with my inner being and try to get in a high vibration because I have to go visit my mother who has dementia. Sorry, it's not as funny as, she's had dementia for about 11 years. It's getting progressively worse.
That's one way of staying in the now.
I just try to...
Can't remember it too much.
Well, she's...
Meditation is a better choice.
Right. Unfortunately, it's not the kind of dementia that is affecting her memory. It's affecting her speech and her mobility. She's starting to lose her dignity, and I just try to give her positive energy.
You can't give anyone something that you are not seeing. So your description, accurate description of what's going on with her, is the vibration that you're offering. And it's asking a lot of someone to be experiencing that and offer a different vibration, but you can.
And I try, and sometimes guilt gets me because when I leave her, she's in a good place. She's in a small home and taken care of with 5 other ladies. She's safe and she's fine. But when I leave, somehow I can just turn it off. I can just not give it my energy and I can move on with my life and go live. And then, a few days later, when I'm called to go see her is when I go see her. I don't go because I have to. I don't go on a schedule.
And so you're darting in and darting out. And would you say, on balance, the majority of your thoughts are not being diminished by your awareness of that? You feel good, pretty good most of the time.
I do, until I have to talk to another family member or my father or, somebody that's kind of not seeing it as well as I do, maybe.
And so what you're saying to us is that there are a lot of people in your experience that are seeing things in a way that doesn't serve them, and that when you engage with them, finish the sentence, when you engage with them, then what happens to you?
I try not to...
Do you think it's your job to turn their thoughts around? Is it your job to make them see it the way you're seeing it?
No, I try to change the subject.
And what does that accomplish?
They get irritated. Like, how do you not care about your mother type feeling.
So maybe that's not the best plan.
Okay.
There's a process that we've talked about through the years, and it is undervalued by most people because most people don't really understand what it is about. It's called segment intending. And segment intending is your way of owning the moment. And by owning the moment, we mean it's you hooking up with your source and therefore being vibrationally dominant in any moment. Well, this is the big question that you want to ask yourself. Do I feel that I have the right, we're speaking for you, do I feel that I have the right to be vibrationally dominant and therefore happy when I'm with other people who are choosing not to be happy in that moment? Do you feel you have the right to do that?
I do.
So why don't you just do that?
Okay. How can I soothe her? Her latest thing is, I want to die. And she's literally tried to jump out of a car. And the doctor says she could have another 6 years. And how do I soothe her?
We've got to step back into a premise that is more stable first, because when you jump into a segment and you say, how do I soothe someone who is seemingly unsoothable? The answer to that is, you don't. So, got any other questions? Well, let me think. How do I soothe myself when I can't soothe someone else, by accepting that everybody is creating their own reality, and that feeling empathy for people in hard places doesn't help them. And you know how you know it? Because it feels so bad when you try to do it. So what are your options? Because most people put themselves in a place of having two choices. I can soothe myself by owning my vibrational space, by owning the room, by caring about how I feel, and by hooking up with my source energy, and by trying to see my mother through the eyes of source as best I can. Or I can do it the humaning way, where we all just get together and talk about things that hurt us when we talk about them, and then complain that no good ever comes from that. In other words, we don't see these as difficult choices, except that you've got to convince yourself that it's okay for you to be happy when there are others around you who are not. And you have to stop feeling responsible for the happiness of others over which you have no control. Now you're really on the right track, because you said, I want to soothe my mother. Esther always listens attentively to the flight attendants because she respects them. And her favorite thing is when they explain that if the oxygen masks drop, Esther's never seen any of them. She wonders why there are 4 when there are only 3 seats, but she's never asked that question. Maybe someone's sitting on someone's lap. But they always explain, put your mask on first before you help somebody else. And in airplanes, that seems logical to you. But in Abraham seminars, when we say put your own well-being on first and then help others if you can, for some reason you want to say, no, I think I should suffer because they are. It's completely illogical with the laws of the universe, isn't it?
It is.
So do you think you can help your mother?
I don't know. No, I mean...
So we're just going to keep asking you some questions. Do you think you can help your mother? No, not really. Do you think that you can segment intend well enough that you can hold your own in any segment?
Yes.
Do you think that you can segment intend well enough that you could hold your own in a segment with your mother?
Yes, I do.
Do you think that you have the capacity to hook up to source energy, see your mother, even in her current condition, through the eyes of source, and feel appreciation for what you're seeing? Do you think your inner being can do that?
Yes.
Do you believe that if your inner being can do that, you can do that?
Yes.
Do you think your inner being has a different vantage point?
Yes.
What do you think your inner being's vantage point is that yours might not be? Just in general, what would the vantage point of your source energy or your inner being, what is the component of that vantage point that really stands out as being different and therefore a huge advantage to non-physical? Broad view, broader view, whole view. The whole view. So your inner being knows who you are, knows who everyone else is, knows what's in the vortex, knows the whole of the person, knows all the value that has been lived and received, knows what the path of least resistance is. The reason your inner being doesn't freak out when you're freaking out is because your inner being has the big picture. So isn't that what you want to start practicing more segment by segment, is the big picture? So then ask yourself the question, once you have stepped into the big picture, which of the questions that you have asked here today can you imagine your inner being asking? If you'll ask yourself, what was the reason that I asked the question that I ask? Why am I asking what I'm asking? So when we put that back to you, why are you asking what you're asking about your mother? Trying to get yourself off the hook? Trying to get square with your other family members who don't know which end is up? Or are you trying to soothe your mother?
I'm just trying to soothe my mother. I'm trying to...
That's the answer you want us to believe.
Okay.
But that's not the vibrational footing that's there. Because what you're asking about is, you're talking about the other people. In other words, you feel sort of overwhelmed by all of this. And you know, it's all right that you're having a bumpy ride because of this. Because that's what happens when you love people and people have experiences. We're not asking you to extract them from your experience and never think about them again. We're asking you to practice seeing them in present tense in the way that your and their inner being sees them in present tense.